Howard Schultz, Chairman, Chief Executive, Chief Global Strategist. We took a look inside the life of Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, and see what sets his Fortune 500 company apart from local coffee shops today. Howard Schultz's leadership has shown that he is a very conscientious person and has a concern for people. Schultz's most prominent values and attitudes include caring for others and having a strong sense of community. He even teamed up and created Jobs for USA for underserved communities. Howard Schultz's personality traits influenced his career tremendously, demonstrating strong positive affect. Openness to experience is an evident personality trait Schultz possessed. Because of his wide range of interests and expressed curiosity, Schultz's ethics reflects his motivation by maintaining excellent, happy employees. Howard Schultz built his company culture by hiring people who smile, ultimately creating the customer experience, which is why Starbucks is top spots on customers' loyalty and satisfaction. Howard Schultz's company is one that brings a sense of humanity and demonstrates respect and dignity by motivating others. Howard Schultz's star leadership power has inspired us to be future great leaders.
Thanks for joining us today as we discuss where Howard and Starbucks is today.
Starbucks is one of the most powerful brands today, and Howard is continuing on his success with recent acquisitions such as Evolution Fresh and Tiavana.
He's capitalizing on opportunities and is making Starbucks even better than what it is today. Today we'll be speaking with John Culver, president of Starbucks in China and Asia Pacific, as well as get an inside look of the board of directors meeting. In order to get to know the kind of leader Howard is and the impact he has on Starbucks in those recent decisions, here we have John Culver, president of Starbucks in China and Asia Pacific. So John, tell me what source of power does Howard possess and use?
Well, very obviously Howard has legitimate power being the CEO of our company. Everyone has to respect him when it comes down to it because he's the one who makes the calls. And we feel very confident listening to Howard because he also possesses reverent power, which from the time that he obviously started the company and is seen highly in the eyes of our employees because of his ability to make the company what it is today and how you know it. But additionally, after he left, Starbucks started to struggle a little bit, and when he came back, he really turned it back into what it once was. And so therefore, he likes to lean more on the reverent power because that was more earned, whereas legitimate is just a title given to him.
So what influence tactics do you think Howard displays? And have they been effective?
Howard clearly uses the rational influence tactic because it's a business, it's all about the numbers. You have to make profits when you can and increase revenue and all that. But he also does like to use the inspirational tactic to really connect with his employees.
So what about organizational politics? Are they part of who Howard is as a person?
The little politics that there are in Starbucks, they're very effective and are actually positive.
So we all know Howard possesses a lot of. So we all know Howard is a very influential leader who possesses a lot of power for Starbucks. Since his return in 2008, Starbucks has saw its net income grew from $315 million to $1.25 billion, and revenues well over 12%. Today, Howard is focused on capitalizing on the health, food, and tea industry. The recent acquisitions of La Boulange, Evolution Fresh, and Tiavana have all reflected. Today, Howard is focused on capitalizing on the health, food, and tea industry. His latest acquisitions of La Boulange, Evolution Fresh, and Tiavana have all reflected his leadership abilities and the power he possesses in those recent decisions.
I had a chance to sit down with Howard Schultz, and here's what we discussed.
I'm Jessica Smith, and I'm here today on Coffee Talk with Howard Schultz to discuss his decision-making and how it has brought the company to where it is today. Thanks so much for joining us, Howard.
Thanks a lot. I'm excited to be here on Coffee Talk.
The company once grew fast, but now Howard would like to see it grow with discipline in emerging and developed markets alike. In 2008, as CEO, Howard Schultz returned to the company, and quickly concluded that growth had become a toxin at Starbucks, and saw the need for transformation in its culture and operating approach.
That's right. When you look at growth as a strategy, it can become somewhat addictive. And it shouldn't be that. Growth should never be looked at as a strategy. It's a tactic. And that's a very important and primary lesson that I've learned at my time here at Starbucks, is that we're going to be making mistakes, but a lot of times we can cover up these mistakes with the successes and the growth that we have. But growth needs to be controlled. It needs to be disciplined. So from this lesson, we've learned that we're going to be making our decisions with more research and more information behind them. Hopefully, in the end, we're going to have profitable growth, disciplined growth. It's going to be different, it's going to be controlled, and it's going to be the right kind of growth that we want to see out of Starbucks in the years to come.
So back in 2008, what were some of the things that you were seeing that felt toxic or hazardous to the company?
Well, when we were evaluating some of the stores, we saw that some of them were underperforming. And it really horrified me to see that some of the stores that we eventually had to shut down had only been open for 18 months or less. So, sort of when you look at it, you think of the money that we invested, then the money that we had to write off. It's pretty clear that the decisions we made were made with a lack of discipline. And this was during a period of time, actually, that we were kind of chasing growth. And that's not good to do. We were kind of making decisions based off, trying to be kind of complicit with the stock prices. And that is a very, very dangerous road to go down.
What exactly did you mean when you said you hoped for a different way of growth for Starbucks?
This is a very opportune moment for our company, now that we've identified something very unique, something that other companies haven't done before. As we know, there are many companies out in the markets today that have their prominent footprint in a national or domestic market, such as Costco, Walmart, even Starbucks falls in this. And then you have a different sector of consumer packaged good companies. When I say that, I'm talking about the Pepsis, Coke, Campbell's, and Kellogg's. But I personally cannot identify with one company that has integrated these two things, that has integrated the retail footprint with the universal distribution footprint. And so what we want to do with that, in our case, is we're going to start dealing with drugstores and grocery stores.
Political activism. Your dynamic between the public and private has made you, Howard Schultz, an outstanding American CEO. Thanks so much for joining us.
Wow, that's extremely nice of you, and thank you so much. I had a great time here on Coffee Talk. I hope I answered the questions correctly.
Of course.
And now an inside look at the annual Board of Directors meeting.
Hi, I'm Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks.
And I'm John Culver, the president of Starbucks in the Asia Pacific.
And today, John and I are going to talk to you guys, current shareholders and possible future investors of Starbucks, about a couple things. Number one, we're going to talk about stock activity in Starbucks over the past 5 years. I'll also dive into different revenues that Starbucks had. John will talk about growth within Starbucks, a new project of mine called Evolution Fresh, and finally, I'll talk about the future possibilities that Starbucks has and different things that I'm looking into to invest in the years to come. First off, I'd like to talk about the stock activity over the past 5 years in Starbucks. Starbucks is a publicly owned company, therefore we are traded in the stock market. Our symbol name is SBUX, S-B-U-X. Over the past 5 years, we've seen pretty rapid growth of Starbucks stock, having a low of $7.83 back in November of 2008, and a high this past April of 2012 of $61.67 per share. We're very, very proud of this growth that we've had in the past 5 years. As you can see by this chart, and today, November 26, 2012, our stock price is being traded at $50.21. This is a very promising price right now, and we think that people should continue to hold on to Starbucks stock and also continue to invest. We're very happy with the growth, and we continue to see it going upward as we continue to invest and have more opportunities with the revenue and income and profit that we're bringing in. Go ahead, John.
Going off what Howard said about our recent success, our main focus now is on growth, and we currently have over 17,000 stores in about 55 countries, and we look to just keep that growing every year. As in 2012 we are well onto our goal of opening up 800 new stores including our first ever store in India, which we feel to be a new market that we could get into. And we plan to down the road have over 1,600 stores in China alone, which because of their massive population, we feel that we can be a mainstay there and it'll really help our company. And a major sign of our success and growth and our focus on growing smart and not just making more for the sake of building more stores is the fact that all of our stores that have been open for over 13 months this past year, all of their sales grew by at least 10%, which is just a great sign of Starbucks just becoming better while growing and not just growing so we can think we can sell more. And Howard will go into more about the revenue associated with the growth.
Thanks, John. And yes, stockholders and future stockholders, he makes a very good point. Bulk growth is not something that we're looking for. I have to share a personal story to you guys to show a promising upside to our future. In 2000, I left Starbucks as a CEO. I ended up coming back 8 years later in 2008. In that time, Starbucks had an impressive revenue growth of $10 billion. Unfortunately, profits lagged and only increased by 75%. And this revenue of $10 billion can also be credited to the number of stores that Starbucks added on. In between 2004 and 2008, the number of Starbucks stores in the entire globe almost doubled. So when I came back into office as CEO of Starbucks in 2008, I immediately slowed down the growth of stores being added. In the past 4 years, from 2008 to 2012, only 323 stores have been added. That small amount of stores being added might sound like a bad thing, but in reality, revenues have grown, net income for us has grown from $315 million to $1.25 billion. That really shows the strength of being efficient and specializing in what we do best.
And because now that we feel that we are so good in what we do when it comes to the coffee and the Starbucks experience as you have come to know it, we feel that now we can expand to other markets and really develop the Starbucks brand into something bigger. And a major part of that has been our recent acquisition in 2011 of Evolution Fresh, which we purchased for $30 million. And we feel that it's such a great move for us for the future because of the health market that is over a $50 billion industry. And with these products that will be available in Starbucks stores, grocery stores, and even their own standalone stores, we feel that we can appeal to a larger crowd.
And for all you savvy investors, Starbucks definitely has a very promising future. As John Culver mentioned, Evolution Fresh is the next stage in the growth of Starbucks. It's the idea, it's the food, it's the coffee, it's the drinks, the personality of the company that we're going to bring to you guys. People are going to love it, and we need your guys' money to invest in these companies. And now that we have more money to play with, more money to very intelligently invest in different companies, we have really been trying to expand ourselves. And actually, November 14th of this month, of this year, I actually had an endeavor of $620 million to acquire Tiavana Holdings Incorporated. And that's actually publicly traded now, $15.50, and that would be a very savvy investment for all you guys. I hope you've enjoyed our financial report for you guys on Starbucks over the past 5 years and current things to come. We're really excited to see where the company goes, and thank you for your time.
During his return as CEO, Howard focused and recommitted on employee training and the intangibles such as values and cultures as the key to the company's recovery.
New subsidiaries of La Boulange, Evolution Fresh, and Tiavana will demonstrate how Starbucks will add to their brands that will strengthen their core offering.
These latest acquisitions are tangible examples of the success Starbucks has on their blueprint for growth
and their goal towards a differentiated health and wellness offering in the marketplace.
Thanks again for joining us.
Throughout this project, our group has learned a lot about Howard Schultz. And one thing we've all been able to agree on is that he is a great leader. He's a very charismatic leader that is very good with people. He's a democratic leader and takes in other people's opinions and thoughts. And he's also a team manager that makes sure productivity is high, while at the same time the concern for the people is very high as well. The one thing that we did say that we would change had we been in Howard Schultz's shoes is we wish he would have stuck it out in 2000 with Starbucks instead of leaving for 8 years. I feel he didn't leave the company in a great situation, but eventually he did come back in 2008 and patch it up.